Good afternoon once again. Welcome you back to another session of Communicative English, wherein today we are going to discuss about interview skills. We all know the importance of interviews. That whenever we talk about interview is very important. Generally, when we talk about interview, people believe that it's again very tough to attend the interview process. It is scary. It is generally something which is not liked, which is like people they believe that whenever there is an interview process they will be scared, they will be insulted, they will be humiliated. So how can we overcome those negative elements? How can we develop that positive attitude whenever we are talking about interview skills? So please remember, this is chapter number 6 related to interview skills, wherein we are going to discuss what are the common things that you have to keep in your mind whenever we say interview skills. Generally, students they believe that whenever we talk about interview skills, it is only for job. Again, you have to get rid of this myth from your mind. You have to wash it off, or you have to erase it, because when we say interview, I want you to focus on the word interview. It is divided into two parts: inter and view. What is view or opinion? You all have your opinion, isn't it? When I say Indian cricket team, what is your opinion? Do you think Indian cricket team is the best team in the world, or do we have to bring necessary changes in it? What is your opinion? Can I get the information in the chat box? Let me see how many of you are really keen to interact. Particularly when we talk about the Indian cricket team, Shubham Arman says necessary changes. So, what necessary changes are we talking about? Is it in the batting line, or in the bowling side, or in the fielding side? What kind of changes are we expecting? Or you want the management? So there are certain students who are commenting that batting lineup should be improvised. Some says that the bowlers should be good enough. And what about your fielding? Do you think that the fielding of Indian cricket team is really to the mark, or changes are required even when we are talking about the fielding, the kind of management that the players? So yes, we must have seen, we might have seen even when Indian cricket team was playing the ODI against Australia, right, as well as the T20 match. And often you must have seen that to some extent Indian cricket player or the team players were not performing well on the ground, though they might have scored very good score on the board, but still their performance in the fielding was not good, right? So you know that you have your own opinion. You're not playing for Indian cricket team, and probably we might never we might get an opportunity, or we may never get an opportunity to play for the Indian cricket team at international level, isn't it? But still we have our own opinion. We believe that some of the players are extremely good, some of the people are not performing well. So Nikhil Raj had stated that the problem is with the captain. So Ayush Kumar, he says that he misses the MSD's factor, the effect that MSD used to always implement or apply when he was on the ground. So yes, of course, everybody is having different opinion, isn't it, dear? So you have your own viewpoint, you have your own perspective, you have your own thinking, isn't it? Similarly, whenever we say interview, inter means between two different people. All right. Say, for example, I say that students of Bihar are very good. The other person may say that no, student of Bihar are not that good. So I cannot challenge their opinion, and they cannot challenge my opinion, because it is his or her personal opinion, and this would be my opinion. So please remember, whenever you say interview, it is in fact the opinion that we are having between two different people. All right. Inter means between two. View, opinion. View between two different people. All right. So now in future, if anybody says, are you afraid of interview? What should be your answer? Will you be scared of interview? No, of course not, because you have your own opinion, you have your own say, right? No one can stop you from saying or presenting your opinion. You should be brave enough of facing any kind of person. Of course, there can be certain questions for which you may not be knowing the answer, right? There can be certain instances where you may not be knowing certain answers, you may not be able to solve certain problems. Probably you don't have that experience, probably you did not get that exposure. So this doesn't mean that you are not good. As an individual, you're unique, you're special, and you all are blessed. You should always keep this thinking in your mind. So when we say interview, it is letting your opinion letting your opinion or your perspective known to others. When you share your opinion, when you are giving your opinion, whenever you are sharing your perspective with others, that is called as interview. Is this a skill? Yes, it is a skill. What do we understand by the term skill? Skills are those which can be learned, which could be practiced, which could be adhered, which could be imbibed, inculcated. When we were born, we were not knowing any language to speak, isn't it? But today, minimum, we can speak three languages or two languages, right? So, did you learn the language? Yes. Is this a skill? Yes. Did you learn to sing? No. Did you learn to dance? No. Except few. There could be some student, there could be a few who might have learned how to sing, who might have learned how to dance, who might have learned how to play a musical instrument. But when we talk about in general, we all know how to dance, isn't it? Did you take any extra classes or special classes for it? No. So, how did you get this? It's a talent for which is there in you. So, keep this in your mind that skills are those which could be learned, practiced, imbibed, inculcated. So, interview is a skill, and we all need to identify and remember whether we are having these skills or not, because every now and then, as a management student, even if you are a BBA student or BCA student, every now and then you have to share your opinion with others. Sometimes you will be sharing your opinion with your friends. Sometimes you will be sharing your opinion with your parents. Sometimes you're going to share your opinion with faculty members. Sometimes you're going to share opinion with the corporate people. Sometimes you're going to share opinion with the entrepreneurs. So you have to keep in your mind that interview is not just for job. Interview can be conducted or could be organized, could be scheduled in day to day life in different ways, in different scenarios, in different situations. So are we ready to learn about this skill? How many of you are keen to learn about this skill? If you are really interested, quickly in the chat box, how many of you are willing to improve your interview skills? I see people writing I. Very good, excellent. This shows that you people are really enthusiastic. Now, how to create that positive attitude, how to have that positive approach so that you can give a best interview. Everybody wants to be the best, isn't it? No one will say that I want to be a mediocre or I want to become the bad person. Everybody wants to become a good manager, good technical expert, and you all want to have a bright career, isn't it? So when we talk about this bright career, we should know that unless and until we don't communicate with others, unless and until we will not share opinion with others, people will not come to know what we are good at, isn't it? So it's very important to share your opinion. The first thing that you have to keep in your mind is whenever we talk about interview, know its purpose. There are two parties, as you know. One who is going to ask you certain questions so that you can let the other person know about yourself. You can let the other person know about your skills, your talent, or you can let them know about your knowledge or your experiences or in what you are expert, right? So there are two different parties. But a Viva is also a kind of interview. Viva is again an interview. All right. So when there is a question and if you are giving an answer, right? But why do we call it as Viva? Because it is stipulated, it is fixed based on certain syllabus. They'll not ask different questions, or most of the time they are evaluating you. All right, Dheeraj. So keep this in your mind here that whenever we talk about Viva, yes, of course, it's a kind of an interview where people will come to know more about your knowledge, more about your experiences, more about your like experiments that you have done with your studies. But at the same time, they will ask questions which would be based out of your syllabus, right? So if I'm talking about BBA first year student as well as BCA first year student, you all are studying in information technology, isn't it? So after your course, that is before your final exams, a practical would be held, and that practical will be conducted, or the practical examination will also be followed by a viva. So in the viva, what the interviewer is going to ask, he or she will be asking you questions related to syllabus, right? But when we say interview is like where people may ask about different opinion, could be related to anything of their own interest. But in the viva, the interviewer will be forced to ask from a given syllabus. All right. So, Dheeraj, I hope I have cleared your doubt here that why we call it as viva, why it is not called as interview. Of course, it is a kind of an interview, but because of the syllabus, because of the limitations, a person whosoever is going to conduct your viva, he or she is going to evaluate your knowledge skills. All right, they are not going to judge your personality. They are not going to say that, look, you have to work out on your personality, look, you have to work out on your grooming skills, look, you have to work out on your dressing sense. No, they're not going to talk about your personality. They will not even talk about your team building skills. They're not going to talk about any other skill except knowledge skill, right? So they will be judging you. They are going to evaluate you only on the question that they are asking and the answer that you're going to give to them. All right, Dheeraj. So next, when we talk about interview, in interview, you should always remember both the parties, the person who's going to conduct the interview and the person who's going to answer those questions that are asked by the person, they both will have to prepare very well. Now, let's say that there is a person called Himanshu Kumar. Himanshu has joined
Yes, ma'am.
ISM Patna. Now, Himanshu, as he has joined recently, he wants to know more about the course. He wants to know how much did we complete? What about the classes? What about the teachers? What about the syllabus? So he may have number of questions in his mind. Now, to whom should he ask? From where can he get all these information? He can approach faculty coordinator. He can approach class representative. He can approach one of his friends, isn't it? So what is he doing? He is again conducting an interview process. Is this a formal one? No, this is an informal one. In informal, it is nothing but a communication process that is going on between Himanshu and his friend, or Himanshu and the CR, or Himanshu and the faculty coordinator. All right. So keep this in your mind. So whenever we are talking about interview skills, this word will be used only for the formal communication. All right. Whenever it is informal, then it becomes conversation. We call it as interaction. We call it as just a talk between two different people. But when we conduct it in a formal way, where the person whosoever is going to ask question, he expects certain answers from you people. All right. So when there is an interview which is going on, both the persons, that is what I said, the person whosoever is going to conduct the interview and the person whosoever is going to answer those questions asked by the interviewer, they both have to prepare. Why they both have to prepare? Because there will be some objective. Whenever we conduct an interview, there is an objective. What is it that you want to know? What is it that you want to explore? What is it that you want to identify? What is it that you are thinking of organizing? Or what is the purpose behind conducting the interview? Therefore, please remember, there has to be a purpose. There has to be a like-minded nature. There has to be some kind of connectivity between the person who is conducting the interview and the person who's going to appear that particular interview process. Both the parties have to prepare very well. In case if you think as a candidate, the one who is applying, as a person who is going to speak or respond, if he is not preparing well, or if he did not respond, do you think it is a loss to only that person? No, it would be equally considered as a loss to the interviewer also. Why? Because of that wrong person, his precious time was not properly utilized. Therefore, you should always remember, whenever we talk about information, whenever we are talking about gathering the right information, so that gathering of right information can happen when there is a fruitful conversation that is scheduled or will be organized between the interviewer and the candidate. Both the parties have to identify what is it that they are looking for. Both the parties will have to identify whether they both are going to fulfill each other's requirement or not. If you cannot fulfill each other's requirement, there is no point of view of attending the interview process. When you want to take admission in the institute like ISM, you will come, you will ask certain question to the counselor, and the counselor will give you answer to the questions that you have asked. In case if there is a friend of yours who just went to inquire, but he went there only to pass his time, his intentions was not at all to take admission at ISM Patna. So what is going to happen? Though he might have taken things for granted, but the person whosoever is going to answer his question, he or she will be very serious, isn't it? So you should keep this in your mind that whenever we talk about interview process, there are certain things that we have to keep in our mind. What is the purpose? What is the kind of information that we are going to gain? What would be the timing? Who are the people who are going to get benefit? Are they really looking for such benefits or not? Otherwise, there won't be any purpose. If there is no purpose, what is going to happen? Interview will be sheer wastage of not only your time, but also other person's time. So keep this in your mind, dear. Whenever we talk about interview process, there are two parties. One who is going to ask question, other who's going to give answer to those particular question. They both should have common thinking in their mind. They should think accordingly. If the thinking is different, if they are not thinking accordingly to whatever you are trying to reach, or the purpose is different, you cannot fulfill each other's requirement. I want you to keep this in your mind. Whenever we talk about interviewer, even he or she has to prepare very well. The person who is going to apply, the candidate whosoever is going to give response to the question, even it is his or her responsibility to prepare very well, so that both the parties, the one who is conducting the interview and the one who is appearing for the interview, can get maximum benefit out of the process that is called as interview. I hope everybody could understand that when we talk about interview, it is a win-win situation for both the parties. You cannot conduct an interview just for passing your time, all right? Because it is, again, if without purpose, no point of conducting the interview. Generally, before conducting interview, the things that we are going to discuss would be related to your project report, related to your assignment, related to your studies, related to your job. When we talk about formal interview process, what are the things that we have to keep in our mind when we are applying for the job? When we apply for the job, the first thing that we have to prepare is application letter. Job application letter. That means I'm applying for this particular job. I'm willing to apply for the given position. All right. This job application is also known as cover letter. So in case in exam, if somebody asks, write a short notes on cover letter, don't say, ma'am, I don't know what is cover letter, because you have taught me only what is job application, or you taught me only about job application. Don't get confused. So job application is also known as cover letter. So sometimes they may ask you to write short notes on job application, or they may tweak and they may say that write a short notes on cover letter. They both are one and the same. In job application or in cover letter, what is it that you are doing? You are applying for a position. You are applying for the position of intern. You are applying for the position of a trainee. You are applying for the position of maybe marketing executive, or technical expert, or designer, or graphic designer, or could be web designer, or could be related to animation as an animator, or could be related to coding. You can be a coder. So there can be different positions for which you people can apply. When we talk about apply, we should also remember we have to prepare our resume or CV. We are going to know what is the difference between resume and CV in the next slide. For the time being, you just need to remember that whenever we are applying for the job, along with the application, as an attachment, if you are writing it on a piece of paper, then you have to staple your resume. In case if you are sending it as an email, then attach your resume or CV in the form of attachment. All right. Please remember the job application letter that you are going to share with the person must explain about you, why you think you are the right candidate, why the person should hire you as an intern, why the person should hire you as a trainee, why you should be hired as a live project member, why you should be hired as a person who's going to work on so and so job position. So keep this in your mind. You have to tell the person, you have to let the person know what is it that makes you different from other and why the person should select you. That will be briefly mentioned. When I say briefly mentioned, that means in 2 to 3 lines. This will be mentioned in the cover letter. Please remember, cover letter could be written on a piece of paper or you can send it as email. Whenever we write on piece of paper, please remember you have to staple your resume or CV. If you are sending it as an email, it is always advised to attach your resume or CV along with your job application so that the person can come to know more about you, the details of your internship, the details about your education, the details about your achievements or accomplishments can be shared with the other person. All right. So this is job application. I'll show you an example of a cover letter also. But before that, let us understand the difference between a resume and a CV. Generally, people think they both are one and the same. No, they are not. As a student of management or a student who is pursuing BBA or BCA course, you should know the difference between resume and curriculum vitae. Curriculum vitae, which is in general called as CV, is different from resume. Let us talk about resume first. When we talk about resume, when we compare a resume with a curriculum vitae, resumes are very short. It could be in 1 page. It could be in 2 pages. If I talk about Elon Musk, how many of you have heard the name of Elon Musk? How many of you know Elon Musk? Or how many of you know Bill Gates? Or how many of you know even Mark Zuckerberg? When you talk about their resumes is of only 1 page. All right. So please remember, resumes are always very, very short when compared to CV, that is curriculum vitae. Curriculum vitae are written at a length because each and every detail will be mentioned in the CV, whereas in resume, we always mention only the highlighted points. We always mention only the very important, the key points. All right. That is the reason why resumes are shorter when compared to curriculum vitae. When we talk about resume, the focus is on how skillful you are. All right. How many of you have heard this word employability skills? Employability skills. Did you hear any time employability skills? And can you explain what employability skill mean? Can you explain? One of you, can you please let me know what employable means? Employ means? What do we understand? Let us break the word employability. When I say employ, when do we use the word employ? When we are providing some job. All right. Whenever a person is engaged in some project, some assignment, some job, that is called as employ. Busy in some activity. All right. Keep this in your mind. Whenever you say I'm an employee, that means you are busy working for that particular organization. Who is an employer? The one who has given you the opportunity, the one who has provided the opportunity so that you can keep yourself busy with certain task, on certain project, with certain relevant information so that you can work on the project, you can work on the task that is assigned and you can accomplish it. So keep this in your mind. Employ, then ability. You should have the ability to of getting the job done, isn't it? Without the ability, can you get the selection or can you get through the selection process? Absolutely no. Say, for example, the students who did not qualify class 12th, the one who could not clear class 12th, can they take admission in BBA or BCA course? Yes or no? If a student did not complete, did not finish, or could not clear his 10th or 12th class, do you think that the person whosoever is, if he or she did not clear 12th class, will he get admission into BBA or BCA course? No. There are certain eligibility criteria, isn't it? That eligibility criteria will decide whether the person is eligible for that particular course or program or not. Similarly, whenever we talk about employability, the person whosoever is going to work or given any task or given any project or given any assignment, people will check whether the person is really capable enough of doing that particular task or not. Therefore, it is called as employability. And when we say employability, these are certain skills. There would be certain group of skills which we are going to discuss in detail in future classes. But for time being, you should all remember that when we talk about resume, in the resume, you're going to talk about your employability skills. Why a person should hire you. You're going to talk about all the important information, not in detail, but in one or two lines about your experience. Whereas when we talk about curriculum vitae, it will inform about the person's experience in detail. In complete detail, the person will be asked, the person will be informed to share the information in all the necessary format, or there can be certain formats wherein you have to fill up all the required information, and that too in detail with all supportive documents. So keep this in your mind. Whenever we talk about resume, it focuses on what skills you are having and how these skills can be beneficial for the organization. Whereas when we talk about CV, it will ask about all the skills that you are having. From where did you enhance those skills? How did you enrich those skills? And how you are going to use those skills in your day-to-day life. This will be a part in your resume, that is CV. Whereas in resume, we will be mentioning only about what are skills and how you are going to utilize those skills. When we talk about education, in resume, when you are a fresher, if you are a fresher, when you have just completed your graduation, then you are going to mention about your education. Then you will definitely talk about your BB or BCA course, from where you have completed your class 12, and then from where did you complete your class 10. All right. So this will be mentioned in your resume, because other than that, you have no experience. Whereas once when you gain experience, once when you are having a work experience of 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, what are you going to do? You're going to eliminate, you're going to remove, you're going to skip information related to education, because that is not necessary. What will become more necessary in future after 2 years of work experience, 3 years of work experience, 5 years of work experience? About your experiences, in which company, in which organization, what was the position that you were working, and what are the things that you have done. All right, so keep this in your mind. If a person is not having any work experience, then he or she will mention the educational qualification. Once when the experience is obtained or gained, then educational qualification will be eliminated in resume. Whereas in CV, you have to mention every time the details related to your qualification, each and every detail related to your qualification, right from the topmost qualification to the bottom. Say, for example, if you are pursuing your MBA or MCA, in your CV, you will first mention about your MBA or MCA, then followed by your BBA or BCA, then followed by your 12th, and then by 10th. After your MBA or MCA, if you're following your PhD course or the different programs, even that you will be mentioning in CV. Whereas in resume, we skip about education. once when we gain the experience. If we are fresher, then yes, we will be mentioning about our educational qualification. In experiences, we are not going to mention about each and every responsibility that we are supposed to do in resume. In resume, say for example, you're working as an intern, so you are going to just mention in your resume, where did you work as an intern, for how long did you work as an intern, and what are the things that you have learned as an intern. Whereas when we talk about CV, every detail related to your each and every activity will be mentioned. And that is the reason generally you will see the CVs will be very, very lengthy. And when we talk about the position, membership, and all, in resumes, we will be talking about membership, we will be talking about achievements, we will be talking about accomplishment. Whereas the CV, which is generally written by professors, the CV, which is generally presented by teachers, CV, which is generally presented by trainers, the coach, life coaches, or the experts, they are going to talk about their accomplishments, like in which book did they publish their chapter, in which journal have they published their article, are they into any research area, what are the articles that they have written in different research books or research journals, what about the presentation, have they given any kind of presentation. So all these things will be mentioned in the CV. Finally, when we talk about the duration, you will see that even in one page resume, you can mention about your 5 to 10 years of work experience, but it's very short. Whereas whenever we talk about CV, it will have at length. That means details of each and every information would be mentioned in the CV. Like in if you are working at ISM as a teacher, so what is the subject that you are teaching, for how long did you teach, what are the areas that you are expert in. So it will be at length, it will be again in detail. So I want you all to understand that there is a difference between resume and CV. Now my question, if you are going to join any company, are you going to present your resume or will you present your CV? What is your answer? Are you going to share with the employees your resume or CV? Quickly in the chat box. So, Zia Hussain, excellent. If you are talking about CV, that means you did not even listen to your teacher. Very good. So you people are multitaskers. This has proven that Abhijit, Ravi Kumar Singh, Ainam Fatima, Ismail, and Shubham Arman, you are multitaskers. You are not paying attention to your teacher, and you are still engaged into multiple activities, and that is the reason your answers are wrong. So please remember, resume is the right answer, which was presented by Sakshi Kumari and Abhishek Kumar. Kudos. So please remember, whenever you are applying for the job, not as a teacher, not as a professor, not as a lecturer, or not as a assistant or associate professor, or as a teacher in a school, you are going to present your resume. If you are willing to work in an organization, if you're going to work in companies or MNCs, you should always remember it is your resume that you're going to present. Even when you are working as an intern, even if you are going to join the organization as a trainee, you will be presenting your resume. I want everybody to remember this. CV is generally written by teachers, by professors. All right. But resume is something which is written by the people who are looking for a job in the corporate world. How many of you are willing to join the corporate world, and how many of you are keen to pursue your masters and then pursue your PhD and join as a lecturer? Can I come to know in the chat box what is it that you are looking forward after your graduation? What is it that you are willing to do? Quickly. So Zia Hussain, he says that he wants to join the corporate world. Shubham Arman wants to be a lecturer. So yes, once when you are going to be a lecturer, when you are going to apply for the position, all right, then you are going to present your CV. But even for your master's degree, Ismail, you should remember, in best of the best colleges, they are going to ask you to present your resume, and you should be ready with your resume, dear. All right. So Ayush, yes, when you join your corporate world, whenever you people are going to join any of the segments, any industry in future, you people would be presenting your resume. All right. So once again, let me tell you, when we talk about resume, it is always written in 1 or 2 page. All right, not more than 2 pages. Manjeet, even if you're looking for higher education better, you should always remember it is your resume that you have to keep yourself like prepared with. You should always be prepared with your resume. And after your higher education, then you may decide, then you may have a clarity that what is it that you are looking forward. Would you like to go and join the corporate world, or are you going to look for the job in education sector? All right. So keep this in your mind, dear. So, but for the timing, everybody, when you're pursuing your BBA course, when you are pursuing your BCA course, of course, as a student of BBA or BCA, you people are like it is compulsory for you to go through summer internship, particularly when you are in your fifth and sixth semesters. You will be asked to do two different OJTs as interns or as trainees, and then you will be asked to prepare your resume. So you should all know how to prepare your resume. All right. So I hope everybody could understand the difference between resume and CV. In case if you have any doubt, you can definitely get your doubts cleared. If you have any doubts related to CV or resume, please share it so that I can clear the doubt. No doubts? Okay. Ritik, I want you to understand about the company. Whenever we are talking about any internship program, it is your responsibility to find out about the company. You should look into the company's website. You should decide by talking to the person of that particular organization whether you can really work as an intern or not. All right. We cannot help you in telling you about the organization because we are not working with semantic, right? You should have this clarity. So whenever we are talking about any internship, it is your responsibility, because every time when your parents say that you are a kid, you always say that no, I'm a grown up now, I'm a mature guy, and you now you have to show up your maturity. That maturity needs certain understanding. Ritik, if you are looking for any internship and when you are applying for the internship, three things that you have to do. You have to prepare your resume. Second thing, you should look for the company, what kind of company it is. Of course, internship opportunities will be generally given to first year and second year students when you are working with or associating with any of the startup. All right. You will get a certificate. Because of that certificate, you can also present to the other companies that you are having that work experience, and you can get that particular work experience. Then that is you can show it in your resume. You can present it in your resume that yes, it is you who has obtained that particular experience by working as an intern, and then finally you can get through it. All right. You can easily get success through it. All right. Please remember, Ayush, CV is written by professors, teachers, wherein they are going to talk about their publication, their journals, their articles. Resume is written by the person, students like you all, or a person who has completed their master and who are looking for a job in the corporate segment. Whenever we are talking about resume, it will have information related to your education. It will have information related to your internship project. It will have information related to seminars and conferences that you have attended or the live projects that you have engaged yourself into. And then finally, there will be information related to your interest and hobbies. All right, dear. Whereas when we talk about CV, CV is written by experienced person who have good knowledge related to teaching, subjects that they are going to teach, any kind of article that they have published, any kind of book that they have written, any kind of webinars, seminars, conferences that they have attended, any kind of faculty development program that they have attended. So keep this in your mind. CV, that is curriculum vitae. Curriculum means which is related to certain syllabus, which is related to education. So keep this in your mind. Resume is generally written or presented by the people who are looking for job in the corporate world, whereas CVs are written by academicians. Ayush, I hope I cleared your doubt, beta. Academicians are the people who are working in education segment. All right. It's not necessary only in colleges, even in schools, dear. When if you if your father or mother is a teacher, then definitely they are going to present their CV. But if you're working in an organization, if your father is working in one or the other organization, then they will prepare their resume. Format will vary, dear Zia. You should remember that the format will be totally different, because when we talk about CV, as I said, there are people whose CV is at least of 30 page, 40 page, 50 page. There are certain professors who have written more than 100 articles. There are certain professors who have written more than 20 or 30 books. So keep this in your mind. That is the reason why I said that resume can be restricted or limited in 1 or 2 pages, whereas you cannot limit the length of the CV. So please remember, of course, there are certain formats. These formats are prepared, or the templates are prepared by the different organization. There are certain organization who will say that I want resume only in this format. So there are certain templates and formats which are available related to resume as well as CV. Atul, you are a student. So as I have said, when you are going to join as an intern, you are going to join not the school, not the college, but you're going to join the corporate world. I want an answer from your side, dear. What do you think will be suitable for you? Preparing a CV would be beneficial, or preparing a resume would be beneficial? My answer should be given, the answer to this particular question should be given by Atul Kumar Pandey. I want to know from you, are you going to prepare your CV or will you prepare your resume? I'm waiting for your response, Mr. Atul Kumar Pandey. Are you going to prepare your CV wherein you will be talking about the lessons, you are going to talk about the subject? Of course, you have to prepare your resume, dear. Atul, you will have to prepare your resume, and resume is to be prepared by everyone. I believe even when you were a student of class 11th and 12th, you should know, you should have the anxiety to prepare your resume. If you're not, start preparing it. All right. I can help you in correcting your resume, but I'll appreciate if you can really prepare your resume and send it across. All right, Atul. Please keep this in your mind whenever you are preparing, or whenever you are appearing for even your higher education or looking for internship projects, live projects, and all. You should have your resume with you, Atul. So I hope I have cleared your doubt here. So I can help you in correcting your resume. I can definitely help you in rectifying the errors which are there in your resume, so that your resume can become a good one. So it should get no one can reject your resume. I'm going to make sure that you people will understand how to prepare a resume. But for that, you have to work hard. All right. You should know. You have to learn from the different people, or know from your seniors, know from even the experts how to prepare a resume. All right. So this would be this is the place where I'm going to take a full stop for today's class. We are going to have this particular slide that I am presenting right now related to cover letter. This I'm going to detail you. This I'll be explaining you tomorrow, wherein we will be talking about cover letter. All right. So you can see there is a format of writing a cover letter, dear, along with which you people will be sharing your resume. All right. Here is the link wherein I'll request you to kindly mark your attendance. All right, dear. In case if you do not know your roll number, just write 0. I think that there are certain students who have joined recently. So therefore, in case if you do not know your resume, just write 0 in the roll number column and please mark your attendance. All right, dear. So tomorrow's, you people are into B section. So therefore, please remember our class. Next class is going to be scheduled on Thursday. Thursday at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'll be sharing the link. Please attend the class. Before attending the class, I want you all to once again go through the information that I have shared related to interview. Try to explore more about resume. Try to explore more about CV. All right, beta. Take care of yourself till we meet on Thursday. Have a great day, and also do take good care of yourself. God bless you all, dear.